Okay, so today our mission, we choose to accept it, is to find out how we can boost our brain power through diet.
Sounds like a tasty mission to me.
It does. And to help us, we're going to be diving deep into a YouTube audio podcast all about, well, how to boost your brain power with 10 specific foods.
Yes. Always interesting to see what the latest is in the world of food and brain health.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of amazing, right, that what we eat can actually impact how well our brain functions.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the research on the link between nutrition and brain performance is just, it's exploding.
It really is. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first food on the list is blueberries. I've always heard they're good for memory, but I guess I don't really know why.
Well, blueberries are, they're packed with these things called anthocyanins, which are a type of flavonoid.
Yeah.
And think of them as like little bodyguards for your brain cells. They protect your brain from damage.
I like that analogy, little bodyguards. So how much of a difference can they really make?
Well, there was this study, it was published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, and they found that people who drank blueberry juice every day, their spatial memory improved by 20%.
20%? Wow, that's pretty impressive. So there's actual science behind it. It's not just like an old wives' tale.
Yeah. There's real evidence. And it's not just memory either.
Oh, really?
Blueberries have also been linked to, better learning and even decision-making skills.
Okay, that's interesting. So a handful of blueberries before a big test, maybe?
Hey, couldn't hurt, right?
I like it. Okay, next up on the list, walnuts. And this is kind of funny, but
I know where you're going with this.
they kind of look like little brains, don't they?
They do. Like nature's giving us a little hint.
Totally. But what is it about walnuts that makes them good for your brain?
It's the omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA. You see, DHA is a major component of brain cell membranes.
Okay, so it's part of the structure of the brain cells.
Exactly. And it plays a key role in how brain cells communicate with each other. And walnuts happen to be a fantastic source of DHA.
So are there studies that show a real cognitive benefit from eating walnuts?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was a study at UCLA, and it showed that people who ate walnuts regularly scored higher on cognitive tests.
Interesting. So they actually performed better.
They did, yeah. Memory, processing speed, things like that.
That's pretty cool. And again, it's not some exotic superfood. It's just walnuts.
Yeah, everyday foods that can make a difference.
That's what I like to hear. All right, next up is fatty fish.
Now we're talking.
So we've got salmon, mackerel, sardines, all those good things.
The kings of omega-3s.
Exactly. And they're full of DHA, which we now know is super important for the brain.
25% of the fat in your brain is DHA.
25%? Wow, that's a lot. Okay, but what about people who, don't eat a lot of fish?
Well, luckily, there are fish oil supplements.
Okay, that makes sense. So you can still get the benefits even if you're not, a big fish eater.
You got it.
Okay, now this next one is a bit of a surprise.
Let me guess.
Chocolate.
You got it. Dark chocolate. But is it really true that chocolate can be good for your brain?
It is, but there's a catch.
Okay, there's always a catch.
It has to be dark chocolate. At least 70% cocoa.
So not like a Snickers bar.
No. Those sugary candy bars won't do the trick. Dark chocolate is full of flavonoids, those antioxidants we talked about earlier.
So a little bit of dark chocolate is actually a brain boost?
It can be. See, the flavonoids help to improve blood flow to the brain.
So more blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients getting to the brain cells.
Exactly. And there's research that shows it can actually improve cognitive performance.
Well, I'm definitely on board with that. Dark chocolate for better brain power. I'll take it. Okay, what's next?
Leafy greens. Can't go wrong with leafy greens.
It seems like leafy greens are good for, everything. But how do they help the brain specifically?
They're full of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that the brain needs. For example, vitamin K. Okay, and vitamin K is good for?
Memory and learning.
Got it. So basically, leafy greens are a multivitamin for the brain.
Pretty much. And there was a study, it was published in the journal Neurology, that found that people who eat leafy greens every day had better cognitive function.
Okay, how much better?
It was like they were 11 years younger, cognitively speaking.
11 years younger? No. I guess I need to eat more spinach.
Can't go wrong with spinach.
All right, so we've got blueberries, walnuts, fatty fish, dark chocolate, and leafy greens. That's a pretty good grocery list so far.
And we're only halfway through.
Okay, bring on the brain food. What's next?
How about oranges? Just one orange gives you a whole day's worth of vitamin C.
Oh yeah, vitamin C. But isn't that more for, like, the immune system?
It helps the brain, too.
Really? In what way?
Well, vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant, so it protects brain cells from damage.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it also helps the brain produce neurotransmitters.
Neurotransmitters, those are like the messengers in the brain, right?
Yeah, exactly. So vitamin C is actually pretty important for keeping our brains running smoothly.
Okay, so an orange a day keeps the brain fog away.
Something like that.
I like it. All right, next up we have eggs.
Another great choice.
Yeah, they're a good source of protein. But what makes them a brain food?
Well, eggs contain choline. And choline is super important for brain development and function.
In what way?
It's a precursor to acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that's vital for memory and mood.
So, like, without choline, our brains can't make enough of this acetylcholine.
Right. And research has actually shown that people who get more choline have better cognitive function.
Okay, so eggs are a good source of this brain-boosting choline. Good to know. All right, what else do we have?
How about a nice cup of green tea?
Oh, I love green tea. But I usually drink it to relax, not to, like, boost my brain power.
Well, green tea has this unique combination of caffeine and L-theanine.
L-theanine.
Yeah, it's an amino acid that has, like, calming effects.
Okay, so the caffeine gives you energy, and the L-theanine helps you relax.
Exactly, so you get the alertness without the jitters.
That's actually pretty cool. Any research to back that up?
Oh, yeah. There was a study in the journal Psychopharmacology, and they found that green tea actually improved cognitive performance and mood.
Maybe I should switch from coffee to green tea.
Give it a try.
All right, 2 more foods to go.
Okay, up next. Avocados.
Avocados, they're so good. And they're full of healthy fats, right?
Right. Monounsaturated fats, which are great for heart health. And what's good for the heart is good for the brain.
So avocados are indirectly helping the brain by, like, improving blood flow.
Exactly. Plus, they're a good source of vitamin E, which is another powerful antioxidant.
So it's a double whammy of brain benefits. Okay, last but not least, what do we have?
Let's end with a sweet one. Strawberries.
Strawberries. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, they're full of those anthocyanins, just like blueberries.
Okay, so more antioxidants to fight off brain damage.
You got it. And studies have shown that strawberries can actually improve memory and learning.
Wow. I never knew strawberries were such a brain food.
They are.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Blueberries, walnuts, fatty fish, dark chocolate, leafy greens, oranges, eggs, green tea, avocados, and strawberries.
That's a pretty impressive list.
It is. But before we move on, I have a question. We've talked about all these individual foods, but what about, like, overall dietary patterns?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the bigger picture of brain-healthy eating.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of specific foods that are good for the brain.
Yeah, a whole pantry full.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that it's also important to look at the bigger picture, like overall dietary patterns.
Right. It's not just about, like, adding a sprinkle of blueberries here and a walnut there. The whole diet matters.
So what kind of diet is best for brain health?
Well, one that consistently comes up is the Mediterranean diet.
The Mediterranean diet. I thought that was more for, like, heart health.
It's good for the heart and the brain. It's all about those, those colorful fruits and vegetables, olive oil, whole grains, fish.
Okay, yeah, it sounds pretty healthy.
It is, and those components, they work together to, like, reduce inflammation, improve blood flow.
So it's like providing the brain with a whole environment that's good for it.
Exactly. And there's research that shows people who follow a Mediterranean diet have a lower risk of cognitive decline, even Alzheimer's disease.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's not just about thinking better now, it's about, like, protecting your brain for the future.
Exactly. Now, another really important thing is staying hydrated.
Oh yeah, drinking enough water.
It's crucial. Our brains are like 80% water.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, so even a little bit of dehydration can affect how well your brain functions.
I know, I definitely feel it when I haven't had enough water. Like,
Yeah.
I get brain fog, I can't focus.
It's common, yeah.
Yeah.
Dehydration can really mess with your thinking.
Okay, so Mediterranean diet, plenty of water. What about supplements?
Supplements. Well, we already talked about fish oil, but there are others that can be helpful too.
Like what?
Well, B vitamins are important for energy production in the brain, and some studies suggest they might help protect against cognitive decline.
Okay, interesting. Anything else?
Vitamin D is another one that's been getting a lot of attention lately. It's involved in brain cell growth and communication.
So even if you're eating a healthy diet, supplements can like fill in the gaps.
Yeah, they can give your brain a little extra support.
Might have to look into that.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got diet, hydration, supplements. What else is important for brain health?
Sleep.
Sleep, of course.
Can't underestimate the power of sleep.
I know, I'm definitely not at my best when I'm sleep deprived. But what's actually happening in the brain when we don't get enough sleep?
Well, sleep is when your brain consolidates memories, clears out toxins, and basically recharges for the next day.
So when you don't sleep enough, all those processes get messed up.
Exactly. And over time, that can lead to some serious problems, like an increased risk of cognitive decline.
Okay, so how much sleep should we be aiming for?
Most adults need around 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep.
All right, 7 to 9 hours. Got it. What about exercise?
Exercise is another one that's absolutely crucial for brain health.
I mean, I know it's good for my body, but how does it actually help the brain?
Well, for one thing, it increases blood flow to the brain, so it gets more oxygen and nutrients.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it also does some pretty amazing things, like stimulating the growth of new brain cells.
New brain cells?
Yeah.
So you can actually, grow your brain through exercise?
Pretty much. It's called neurogenesis. And exercise also helps reduce inflammation and even enhances the production of BDNF.
BDNF.
It stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a protein that basically helps brain cells survive and grow.
So exercise is like a miracle drug for the brain.
Pretty much.
What kind of exercise is best?
Aerobic exercise is great, like brisk walking, running, swimming, but strength training is important too.
Okay, so a mix of both.
Exactly. Aim for at least 30 minutes most days of the week.
All right, so we've got diet, hydration, supplements, sleep, and exercise. It's a pretty comprehensive approach to brain health.
It is, yeah. It's all connected. You can't really separate one thing from the others.
That makes sense. Now, before we move on, I wanted to ask about stress.
Stress, the silent killer.
Because I know stress is bad for you in general, but how does it specifically affect the brain?
Well, a little bit of stress can actually be good. It keeps you alert and focused.
Okay, so it's like the right amount of stress.
Right, but when it's chronic, when it's constant, that's when it becomes a problem.
And what happens then?
Well, chronic stress floods your brain with cortisol, which is a hormone.
Okay.
And too much cortisol can actually damage brain cells.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it can impair memory function and even shrink certain areas of the brain.
So managing stress is really important for brain health.
It's crucial, finding healthy ways to cope with stress, whether it's exercise, meditation, spending time in nature.
So it's not just about feeling better emotionally, it's about protecting your brain.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about social engagement.
The social engagement.
Yeah, like staying socially active, interacting with other people.
Okay. I mean, I know that's important for mental health in general.
It is, but it's also good for your brain.
How so?
Well, social interaction helps to strengthen those connections in your brain.
So it's like a workout for your social brain.
You could say that, yeah. And studies have shown that people who are more socially active tend to have better cognitive function as they age.
So staying connected with friends and family, going out, doing things with other people.
All of that can help keep your brain sharp.
That's good to know. All right, so we've talked about diet, lifestyle, social engagement. What about genetics? How much does that play a role in brain health?
That's a great question, and it's a complex one.
Because, I mean, if you have a family history of, Alzheimer's disease, does that mean you're destined to get it?
Not necessarily.
So our genes don't completely determine our brain health.
Right. Genetics definitely play a role, but they're not the whole story.
So it's like nature and nurture working together.
Exactly. Your lifestyle choices, your environment, all those things can influence how your genes are expressed.
So even if you have a genetic predisposition to certain conditions, you can still take steps to protect your brain.
Absolutely.
That's good to know. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have. It's a big topic.
It is. But before we move on to the final part, I'm curious, what do you think are the most exciting frontiers in brain research right now?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's so much happening. But I'd say one of the most promising areas is brain-computer interfaces.
Brain-computer interfaces, like straight out of science fiction.
I know, right? But it's becoming a reality. We're talking about devices that can, read your brain waves and translate them into commands.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What are some of the potential applications?
Well, imagine being able to control a prosthetic limb just by thinking about it, or being able to communicate if you have a condition that affects your speech.
That's amazing.
And it goes beyond that. We're talking about potentially treating conditions like Parkinson's disease, epilepsy.
Wow, so this technology could really change people's lives.
It has the potential to, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing stuff. So we're talking about like a whole new era of medicine.
Yeah, I think we are. It's really exciting.
It is. Okay, so brain-computer interfaces. What else is on the horizon in brain research?
Well, another area that I find really fascinating is neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah, for a long time, people thought that, like, once your brain was developed, that was it.
Like, it was fixed.
Right. But now we know that's not true at all. The brain is constantly changing, adapting, rewiring itself.
So, like, even as adults, our brains are still, like, growing and evolving.
Exactly. And that's what neuroplasticity is all about. It's the brain's ability to change and reorganize itself throughout life.
So what does that mean for us, like, practically speaking?
Well, it means that even if you've had a brain injury or you're experiencing some cognitive decline, there's still potential for improvement.
So like the brain can actually heal itself.
To a certain extent, yeah. And there are things we can do to like encourage that process.
Like what?
Well, things like cognitive training exercises, meditation, even learning new skills.
So like challenging your brain can actually make it stronger.
Exactly. It's like going to the gym for your brain.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so neuroplasticity is pretty amazing. What about the gut-brain connection?
Yes, the gut-brain connection. That's another area that's really starting to take off.
I've heard about it, but I don't really understand it. Like, how can your gut affect your brain?
Well, it turns out that the bacteria in your gut microbiome,
Okay.
they actually play a role in brain health and function.
Seriously. So like the trillions of bacteria in my gut are like talking to my brain.
In a way, yeah. They communicate through various pathways, like the vagus nerve, for example.
And what kind of messages are they sending?
Well, they can influence things like mood, cognitive function, even inflammation.
Wow, that's pretty wild. So like if you have an unhealthy gut, it can actually affect your brain.
Yeah, it can, and vice versa.
So it's like a two-way street.
Exactly.
This is all so fascinating because like the more we learn about the brain, the more we realize we don't know.
That's the beauty of it, right? There's always more to discover.
It is. Okay, well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've learned so much about how to boost our brain power through diet, lifestyle, and even like cutting-edge technology.
It's been a journey.
It really has. And it's clear that we have a lot more control over our brain health than we might think.
Absolutely. We're not just like passive passengers. We can make choices that support our brain health and help us live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure as well. Always happy to talk about the brain.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Remember, taking care of your brain is one of the best investments you can make. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep those brains buzzing.